player on the opponent's side when they're against G2.
Well, you've got Dorky in the chat, you've got Alamau and fourth between these two, it's fair to say. Mind games may play a part of it.
Nearly every single one.
Canadian's going to be pushing down Aqua Stairs to try and challenge Dorky pretty soon. Dorky's dropped a little bit deeper back. How about this though? Ambi walks in and gets a double stomp and is there with the Bosch G to get the trade. Dorky picks up the blitz. That is a big kill for G2. If G2 can kind of fall back, and he's playing in and around lobby stairs. He's got the other two, Dorky and Blaz, are in a position to get back to site quickly should they need to. So G2 kind of playing this like half aggression really. Dorky does pick up Surf. Stomping just a little bit over aggressive maybe, a little bit too early. Still 45 seconds left on the clock, and having that vigil out on the roam would have been like playing with a wasp in the room for Shopify Rebellion. So they've managed to take that away, but Rexton is low health. 2v2, Dorky and Blaz playing around those vending stairs. EXO just looking for their opportunities. He wants Blaz taken down though, and it's Dorky versus Spite.
This is ridiculous. This game has been, this round even has been so back and forth between both teams, and now it comes down to a 1v1. We spoke about Spite being that 1v1 king historically, but now he's got to find Dorky, who's tucked away, hidden in, may even have bulletproofs, giving him a little bit of information here. All he's got to do is just play this game of waiting, and Spite will try and get the diffuser down, but I think we all know exactly which way this one is going. Going to try and get the diffuser down, but Dorky can step himself out here. Should have enough time to get rid of Spite, and sure enough does just that. Brutal. But that was old G2. Same for Shopify, the different members back then as well. So there have been some changes to both rosters since then, so I don't expect we're going to see quite the same outcome. Dorky, a massive 2K, looking for a third, but just not quite finding his man. A little bit of pressure from all directions here, makes it a third, spins and looks for the fourth, but can't quite find it. But Tim, the damage has been done, it feels. It's a 4v2 for G2.
Yeah, Dorky's looking for more, might just find it. No, just hits that door frame to the side of Rexton. Keeps him alive and allows him to pick up the kill, but as you say, it looks like the damage is still
big. C4 comes out, shot out there on the cover from Surf. To get down to the last 20, they've got to go now, Tim, but it is not looking good.
No, they've just got a little bit stuck trying to get on into site there. Blaz picks up the first, and Alamau the second with that shotgun. As I said, coming in, Dorky. Not one of them inside the map yet. There's halfway through the round. This is not ideal.
Taking it nice and slow because they know that once they've got the control, they can afford to get a plant going down in the window. For now, it's getting Troll, at least trying to get some semblance of control, but it has been ripped away from them.
There comes a point where they need to walk in, take these fights and win these fights. Dorky, he just dips away and he's going to keep doing that. Nice. Maybe he's not. He's going to peek and give you an opportunity. Probably didn't need to. That's 3 versus 3. A huge double from Surf. We've seen some great performances from him across the last year or so, and he continues on here, getting his team back into it. But 10 seconds there.
Laura's got impacts available too, and they've got smokes coming out. Alamau still with one more in back pocket. Plant is going down. No way do they get away with this, Tim. They've turned it on its head! That is phenomenal play from Shopify.
They're going to be kicking themselves. They're going to be asking questions because they should be 3-0.
Onto Dorky, wonderful stuff, but there's still going to be 2 or 3 other players you've got to chase through the map. Only one player on G2 is downstairs, but Ambi snaps onto Alamau's noggin, takes him offline, traded out by Loira. Can G2 even us up at 3 apiece?
Loira knows that there's one on the window, needs to be careful. Strafing across. Rexton manages to find Stomp, and Loira does pick up his man though, taking Spite down, and just like the rest of this game, Rex and Canadian both low health, no utility in the hands of Blaz and Loira, but there could still be those Vulcan canisters available. However, it's Surf, it's that man again, he steps in and takes the fight, hits Loira on the swing, brings it to a 3v1, it's all up to Blaz, but he's been one of the most clutch players for G2 over the last 6 months. If anyone can do it, surely it's him.
But you've got a blitz to contend with, you've still got utility raining on through. This is looking really ugly here. This time full white flash, and Surf is in there for the close. Give them this kind of control now where Spite can step up and start getting his hard breach charge down. That puts pressure inside of sight, and he gets the kill onto Dorky to start it off. Brilliant start.
They've kind of just foregone the connector angle now. It's all coming from the Aqua side, from that warehouse catwalk. That is where the pressure. Surf has moved into RT as well. They've got Canadian on a backstab with the Ying. He needs to make his move soon. 35 seconds left. Loira picks up Spite. That puts Diffuser down on the ground. 4 versus 4, but it feels like G2 are real backs to the wall, trying to hold on here, and we've still got Canadian on the Ying to make the move. Is he going to be the difference maker? Yes, he is. Goes in and gets the kill onto Blaz. Rexton, Ambi, one apiece. 19 seconds left to go, and it's all up to Alamau. 1v4. He can do nothing. Shopify Rebellion, 3 rounds in a row.
Gadget is almost taken offline for a while here, and that opens up Canadian to step right inside. Plant is going on down. G2 have got to stop him though, Tim.
There's nothing that they can do about it realistically. Nitro goes out, it's not going to catch its target, and now as G2 try to make moves, it's too late. Surf manages to pick up Alamau. Blaz does find one for himself, but it was the very low health Rexton, and with only about 23 seconds left to close out these final kills they need and get onto the diffuser, it's not looking likely.
Nope.
We see one go down in either direction. Doki keeps tickling that diffuser, but I don't think he's going to get the space that he needs. 2 versus 3, and Canadian just holding this, but they're going to go for the long arm. Doki might be able to hold on to this. You got to move, Troy! You got to move!
Oh, and he moves against his man! It's into a 1 versus 2 for a second with just a few left, but the time is gone, Tim. They haven't got the time to stop it. Troy's done what he needed to, even gets himself an exit frag. What a half that has been.
He just threw himself in through the window and shot left. It was like, serve the man. The fact that he's already looking at that clock, it doesn't matter. That sort of ability and how organised they've been, how well they've worked together as a team. You know, the quiet performance of Surf finds himself 7 and 3. That's not ideal. You know, and then you've got G2, you know, nading themselves.
Okay.
Some serious drywall.
It's a minor step back. A minor step back. You can't be serious! I get it like happening once in a round, but twice?
I feel like he's off keyboards and they are just sitting waiting.
Pretty chilling at this point, Tim. Pretty chilling. 30 seconds to play out. Stomping on his belly like a snake, hoping to catch someone. Does indeed get rid of Rexton, but there is a response from the other side. It's a poor 1v4 for Blaz here. Traumatized, or at least being terrored by Canadian on the clash. One more up nice and close. Ready with the shotgun, but it's all too easy for Surf, who gets his own shotgun kill. And what was a bit of a gift of a round. Those first 2 rounds, by the way, Tim, he's on a bit of a drought here. 6 rounds, no kills. Not been good.
That's it. He started out with some serious momentum. Alamau is whoever that's going to pick up that entry onto Rexon. That's the Legion gone, so some Guma.
The one with the diffuser. Got to be careful of this. Loira holding on towards the spot, sees his man, steps across now in towards site itself as Alamau secures his second in the round. Surely this is G2's round for the winning.
Yeah, you would have thought so now. However, we've thought that previously. Ambi manages to pick up Loira. Doki with his first since those first 2 rounds takes down Canadian. But Shopify Rebellion continue to fight back on the defense. 2 versus 2. The Surf manages to hit Doki. How many important kills is Surf going to come up with? Stompin manages to take him down, but 4 seconds they could maybe play.
Beautiful.
For the diffuser. Blaz manages to put it down and get the kill onto Ambi at the same time, and then they can continue on moving through. Ooh. Look at this, just having a little wander through sight here. Blaz has got himself right in there. They've no idea, Des. They've absolutely not a clue. Surf is there for the trade, putting himself up to 10 and 4 as he continues to fight hard for his team.
That's the last one available to them. Still 75 seconds yet to play with, but they've kind of got to work upwards here, which is what makes this awkward. Go and deal with those Romans that haven't been cleared off the top floor just yet. A flash coming out, and sure enough, there's a goo mine in his foot, so he can't chase at the same time. That's unfortunate. Rexton falls down, and G2 now with site control are going for the plant, but stop from above, Tim. This is the problem with these verticals.
And look at Ambi's movement. You can see he's just ready for any fight that comes his way. He knows that there's one up there with him. Just manages to find that plant again. Not going to be anything he can do about it this time, though. Loira is there on the cover. Plant successful. G2, they've woken up again, Des. They've won themselves a couple of rounds as Doki takes down Spite. They get themselves back within 1. Game on!
We find ourselves going to overtime. Yeah, I'll say the word, Tim.
We're just looking around that corner, but not quite far enough, or maybe avoided damage, who knows. Toxic Babe will go out and just back him up a little bit. Rexon finds Doki. That's a big problem here. Like I said, Canadian still not dealt with. Rexon with the second onto Blaz for the round. Jab 3. I'm not sure exactly how that's worked out, but Alamau manages to pick up a double off the back. 15 seconds left to go, 2v2.
Absolute madness, and we'll talk about it afterwards because, yeah, final 10 seconds. G2 need to explode forwards here. Still 1 trap left in back pocket. Of course, won't have time to use it. Loira gets one. They've got to get rid of Rexton. Loira hits the headshot just in the nick of time, and G2 get it over the line. But to
Shopify Rebellion. It's very difficult to move players from there, so there's no verticals down onto that spot. They need to be able to do something about it. Blaz with a great start taking down Spite.
Towards the back end of the round.
Gonna have the clash of Canadian just holding up proceedings once again. Great team play there with Ambi managing to find the kill off the back of Canadian's intel, off that information, and you can see it's backing Lawyer up as well because he knows he can't challenge too deep onto this clash because as soon as he does, he'll get swung. Blaz manages to pick up Surf. Now finding us 4.
He isn't quite so secure.
No, absolutely not. He needs to go in there and get the kill realistically or force him into a position where he just cannot really influence the play. Alamai manages to take down Rexon, but it is Ambi who holds on for now, but he's got that shield bearing down on him. He gets forced away as I suggested he might. 20 seconds left to go. G2 needs to think about how they're going to get this diffuser down. Ambi is doing a phenomenal job here of holding on the stairs, but it is too little as Alamai manages to find the kill. 4 rounds in a row for G2. Have the positions, but they don't have the manpower advantage.
Don't just yet. Really going to have to pull something special off if they want to get this one done. Otherwise, we are indeed overtime abound. Spoit going low. Canadian taking off, but a couple of kills make it 3. Rain on through for Shopify Rebellion. That's the stuff that you want, Tim. Just at the very death, they managed to find around Alamau. I'm pretty sure not going to be able to do it against 4, Tim. Not inside 30 seconds. This can only go one way.
Yeah, I would have thought so. They know exactly where he's pushing from. Doesn't have time to rotate. Is going to spot one out with the Grim Bees, but Rexon knows better than to peek that. Doesn't need to at all, so he's just going to hold himself back. The Fenrir's doing their job as well. The FNAT's just holding him back. And it's just going to be one little peek around at the end. It's Surf who takes it, finds his man, and we're going to overtime, Des.
For example, you might look at that and think, well, that's their main answer to the mirror, and it certainly helps, but I think more you're looking towards the buck here. A lot can be done by Laura to open up that from below and shoot out the mirrors from down there. Alamau, the first to fall on the Grim there. This ain't just got the dream so far, Tim, as Rexon gets another. Really going for it, but not finding anything. Stomping, finding one back, a trade the other way. It's not looking good for G2.
Surf does ultimately pick up that kill onto Lawyer as well, so there'll be no more vertical work, and the book just hasn't really paid off. He got in, he was established, he was able to do his work and open up the floor, but they got nothing for it. They weren't able to force the Rebellion into those difficult positions. They weren't able to find the kills from underneath. Shopify just danced around the danger and have managed to create more of their own in reverse. 4 versus 1 now, stomping with case in hand on the Twitch, being watched all the time by the ever-present Canadian on the clash. And it is looking like it is going to be around to Shopify Rebellion. He manages to pick up one. It would have to be an ace to clutch this out.
Nah, they don't let this happen, Tim. Not at this level do you let this kind of play come off. In which case, you probably look towards that next round. I think a KG2 will take a site they're confident they can win. Where my eyes turn to is going to be round 15 in that case. Shopify Rebellion can't step back to this site. They have to go elsewhere, and it's been a little shaky elsewhere with the number of surprises that G2 have thrown at them, so we'll see what happens when we get there. Spoit finally with the closeout. It is Shopify Rebellion up to not going to have any air jabs down, which might give G2 a little bit more freedom to move around. However, do G2 know there isn't a Nomad on the other side? That'll be their big question.
Uh-oh, it's that man again. Surf picks up 2, finds himself 15 and 8. Spoit onto Blaz with a trade after he takes down Canadian. 4 versus 2. Stomp and Doki, you feel like the hopes of this entire match might rest in their hands. Looking ahead towards Clubhouse, it is going to be difficult for G2. They really need something out of Nighthaven, you feel, unless they've got some serious game plan heading into that second map. But it's not looking likely at the minute that they're going to be able to turn this one over.
Well, again, just look at how composed Shopify Rebellion are being here. Like, cool, we've got a 4v2. Stop on the drone, figure out the game plan from here, because there is no reason they should be losing a 4v2 like this. Spoit finds one, Rexon gets the close from the spot that he's been in all game long. These last few months, while this has been sat as their perma ban, I was looking at the numbers actually, and over the last 1-1, which was a very narrow win over Gen.G, when you've got to open up a couple of walls, you have to make sure you've got them, and that may well mean that one of their go-to operators is offline. But look at this, Tim. They're going in fast, and they've completely just deleted Rexon. Spoit's gone too. What is this? Are we watching Weibo all over again?
It would appear that G2 have been doing some work on clubhouse stairs. They were ready to roll. Straight in, got themselves a big double. Dorky does get taken down. So Shopify Rebellion managed to slow things down a little bit. Canadian picks up Loira on his way back to site, and Shopify...
With Ambi escaping, they've got a nice little triangle going on here, Shopify Rebellion, where they should be able to hold off. And G2 are coming in from all sides. We've got Moto, Mainstairs and Blue. Here they go, Tim.
Canadian nearly gets found out there as they come around the corner, but what a play! What a play from Canadian! An important double. He was just moving in behind the bar. Blaz gets
alive along with Canadian, because that's when they can come out on top. So yes, there are 70 seconds left. G2 have got control of, at least on towards construction. They haven't got Jacuzzi opened up though, Tim, and this is where I start to worry for them.
Surf manages to find that opener, and again it's Surf has been doing so well so far. Loira manages to pick up Spike from beneath with that Deimos. That gets G2 back into the round. Nade is going to haven't dealt with that clash yet.
It's also Ambi that I'm a little bit concerned about at this point. He at least can watch on towards Jim. Sorry, Surf carries on his reign of terror throughout the series though. Gets rid of Loira downstairs. The vertical pressure has been removed. They've got 2 players now. 1 player on windows, even Blaz inside the side, but the clash is bearing down on him, feeds the info to Rexton. Doki not going to be able to recover this one, I'm afraid, Tim. And like I said, this is where I start to get a little bit nervous now as we step through these next couple of sites. Now just down to the 1 site. G2 could find themselves down 3-0, and that sets up for a very, very torrid second quarter.
Yeah, it does. I think the one thing that G2 have got to be...
Similar story though for Loira and Blaz, who can get underneath him, assuming of course we can deal with the ADSs and the Magnets. And Surf manages to get rid of one. He's having an unbelievable game once again, Tim. 4-0 here across these first 3 rounds.
Yeah, great stuff from him, and exactly what his team needs. Out goes the air jab.
Nice.
It's going to do the job as Rexon gets picked up by Dorky before it is required. So that leaves us now 4 versus 4. A minute 50.
This is a C4 waiting with Canadian.
Stompin is going to go for... Oh, he looks to just back out of it, but will be taken down by Spoit. 3 versus 3 as Dorky grabs the diffuser and goes to put it down. They are aware the plant's going down because of Canadian's position. He manages to find the kill onto Alamo, but can do nothing about the plant, which is secure. Dorky manages to pick up the kill onto Surf. 2 versus 2. Now it is up to Canadian and Spoit.
Doki going for a bit of exploring here, just making himself into a bit of an odd spot rather than jumping back onto Catwalk. Wants to go aggressive, stop the rotate, but they're pre-fired onto him, Tim. Beautiful stuff, and have found at least 1. They know where the next is too. They've got pings onto him, Tim. This is so hard to fight though. They've got to be absolutely perfect with this Maverick height. Canadian has got the cross, and he's also found the man, Spoit. A 3K in the round, and Tim, RG2 in free fall. It's starting to look that way.
Unreal play from Spoit there. Knew that the challenge was not on the door. Asking themselves big questions. He had to move sharply then, and did so. Even 1 breath, I think, of that Toxic Babe canister would have taken him down. Dorky manages to pick up the second onto Rexton, and a third. So manages to find the trade, but it looks like this one is going to G2, and indeed it will.
Towards Logi. They need pressure inside of there before he can start his march on forward. And now that he's there, he can make his move. Has a track going down on towards Spoit, walks on forward and gets rid of Ambi. Kite offline, 4v4.
Loira with a big double. Those were the kills that they needed. Alamo finds 1. It's 3 versus 1, and unlikely that Spoit can fight his way out. Does manage to find 1, but with 20 seconds left to survive, Dorky finds the... They're going to be taking us down to the basement. If we look how that's gone, it's been 50-50. They've won 1 and lost 1. Ambi, though, picks up an opener onto Dorky. However, Loira in quickly again. We saw this from G2 in the first round, just getting on in.
I wouldn't feel too nervous as the Rebellion coming in here. The floor being opened up right above the head of Surf, who takes a bit of a lick and finally gets down and finished off by Stompin. Hanging around a bit too long out towards that Arsenal side, pays the price, and this is where they can hit go. But Ambi stops them yet again, the second time in this round. We're back where we were before, Tim. It's a 3v3 on the downstairs site again.
Yeah, exactly like before, pretty much in terms of time as well. We've got 2 minutes left on the clock, so G2 with plenty of time to be able to work. I think they are aware of the player inside of stock at the minute, though. It's going to be Spoit. He's not going to win the fight as Stompin pre-fires him around the corner, just showing his ability. Been a little bit quiet overall today, but you just know that he's got those big moments in the locker, ready to go. Blazama might pick up one apiece, and G2...
on their attacks of labs, and I don't think Clubhouse is going to be all that different.
You look at it and you've got to give the advantage to Shopify Rebellion, but like I said, and that's why I called that stat.
Around upstairs too long, but they are giving them absolutely nothing. They're focused inside of dirt. They've got the focus out towards storage. They're trying to go direct towards site base. They don't want to contest an awful lot. There's a nice run out there coming out from Stompin, who, as the vigil going down, is not the end of the world, but look at who he gets. That track not going to be all that much shoots, I'm afraid, to Ambi. It's a play on the other side of the downstairs here, but it's the two that are sat on this doorway. One going down as Spoit hits his second in the round. Pressure starting to mount for Shopify Rebellion as we get to that last 60. This 4v3 is looking pretty good for them. Only one more nade in back pocket to toss in, but I don't think they need it, Tim. Just go for the fun, go for the gunfights at this point. Even Canadian can try and get a plant down if he wants, but it's G2 that are scrambling. Alamau all alone against 4. C4 not going to find his man, and he's against the shield. This round's only going one way.
Yeah, exactly that. Canadian is going to put the diffuser down as well, if he has time, which he doesn't. Ambi to send utility in.
Stomper on the clash here at top of red. Track coming on through, gets his free BM. Does he live? Oh, the side to side for Canadian. Old beats new, and that can be enough. Still a lot of damage taken though by Spoit and Canadian in the process here. G2 definitely the healthier side. And let's not forget, Tim, this ain't even the site. This is just the extension. Canadian into another as Loira steps into his cross.
Just wanting to build a picture before he makes a decision, but here comes Blaz. Are they aware this could be an absolute free base? Spoit taken down by Alamau. Canadian, I think he knows that he's there. He comes around the corner, but doesn't want to take the fight because he's on such low health. Surf manages to get it done. 2 versus 2.
Well, this is the problem, right? In the little bit of chaos that's ensued there, that can be enough. Yes, G2 have lost players and it's into a 2v2, but there's only 15 seconds left. And when a team is forced to go because of the clock, no mistakes are forgiven anymore. G2 can just afford to sit and wait for them to come pushing in. There's fire burning out, Tim. I don't think they've got time here. G2 might hold on through the clock.
Yeah, I think they probably will do. 2 versus 1 as Doki manages to take down Canadian. Alamo doesn't need the clock, manages to find the fan.
Player inside a kitchen, they had the clash out in the corridor, and then a player downstairs inside through an open hatch, contesting onto the window, and it made it a nightmare. But Alamau's gone for a jump out here, but Loira's there just a little bit too quick. The two of them coming together to ensure one of the key players of the round with those Candelas in back pocket. Crucial bits of utility to help you get map control in absence of a player. And Canadian just letting Doki remind himself that those whole chat comments don't necessarily hold true. Shuts down Doki at 4 versus 4. And surely G2 don't start giving this one away, Tim. We've got 30 seconds left. That's nowhere near enough time for Rebellion to pull out a well-calculated execute here. And this is why G2 are now sniffing around the backside, but they've given away 2 kills, Tim. Now it's man advantage to Shopify Rebellion.
15 seconds left to go. They're going to have to take the drop and take the gunfights. We can see Canadian doing exactly that. G2 might just give this one away. Nade goes in, forces the player away from dirt. Blaz is taken down. Canadian's on a tear this round. 3 kills, and he's sticking the diffuser down. Alamo, he's moving to do something, but can do nothing. Ambi has the answer. Shopify Rebellion, they take another attack.
On the execute, but they were just throwing bodies at that one a bit too hard, and once Shopify...
Make sure that we're aware of what we're facing, and let's get ourselves set up for those pushes, for those executes. Exactly what Shopify Rebellion are doing, but it is not going to pay off for them this time. Doki manages to pick up Canadian straight into the chat as well, continuing those mind games, but how about that? They might not have been ready for the glass, but they've just found out that
Both of the breaches are still like bolt holes over at crouch height, but this could be enough. They're going to overload as C4 comes over. In he steps, but gets shot on the cross. Alamau finding one, stomping another. Surf might have got Loira in all the chaos, but this is a bit too risky. Rexon is in. It's all in the hands of Spoit. He's got to stop the cross. Rexon comes up and gets one, but now it is all down to Spoit. They of course see him, and that's the problem with these bulletproofs, Tim. They go ignored for so long, and there it has punished them.
held on to this one the one time
very
they have tried it.
And very comfortable because they wasted so much time, if you remember, on the extended hold. Gonna be not so easy to have the...
Careful heading up those stairs. Spoit will cover himself and make sure he's not giving anything away. Loira does get aggressive though onto that window and manages to find one onto Spoit here.
Well, both now opened up and Loira was immediately there like, I'll take a look out here. What's going on? What's going on? And sure enough, there is a player out there stomping, getting Canadian. Wonderful shot. I'm afraid.
Laz is just looking for the peek around the corner. And decides a little bit better of it. Stomper manages to take the swing onto Surf though, and this really sets G2 up now. That's 1 kill done, make it 2. Hang on a minute, Shopify Rebellion fighting their way back in. Ambi looking to go for the plant. Rexton sprays down Alamo, leaves us now in a 2v1. Do they stick the plant? Yes, they do. Stomper fighting back. We know that he's got it in the locker. He takes a lot of damage.
Wow.
He's cut down by Ambi, and somehow out from the Dokkaebi. Just giving that little bit of intel. They need to be careful. Pushing through bar. Alamo gets away with one there. Loira does take down Spoit, but Alamo's life, despite avoiding that grenade, is not much longer.
2v2.
Surf picks up Stompen. 2v2 with Canadian down.
They've got a track and they should be able to recover Canadian, but it's about getting into the right spot. Almost a freebie for Surf, but no! Just about misses it out. Loira in a dangerous spot here, chooses to stick. Blaz finishing off Canadians. Now it's most definitely going to be a 2v2 to close out. Blaz, 2 kills for himself, at least one more coming on through, and Loira finds what he needs. Tim, say that line again.
We're going to overtime, Des. He may well choose to take the swing. He's waiting for it to come across. He does take it, and he does find Loira. Big opener from Surf. Factor here, they've still got one to deal with. Do not deal with him. That was the opportunity. They try and rush things. Rexon looking to follow that flash around the corner. In fact, impacts himself and loses the fight to Stompen. They do pick up another 4 versus 3. Stompen has dropped oil, but is moving back towards site. Him and Alamo both low health, but the onus here is on Shopify Rebellion to go in and get this job done. Surf manages to find one. Time is the factor. 15 seconds left to go. Canadian might need to start putting this case down on the ground as Stompen fights back, but no. Spike there for the trade. Shopify Rebellion, they've got their chance, Des, and they could finish it.
VIP side of things, and Stompen's with them at the same time, so this may actually force Shopify Rebellion back a little bit sooner than they'd otherwise like. Here we go, Loira's in, and they've just gone straight for Ambi, Tim. They don't want to give him a chance to retreat. He has been punished. Wonderful stuff by G2.
Yeah, that's really smart, team. Back to breaching Jacuzzi Wall. They've gone back to ticking boxes on a checklist map and making sure they've got everything in place. The foundations are laid. Loira manages to pick up Surf. 5 versus 3 now as G2 continue to push. There's a little bit of a fight back from Shopify Rebellion, but you just feel that it's not going to be enough, Des. They've been boxed back in. One of the players is Canadian on the clash, but here comes the fight back.
Rexon managed to get a couple of downs at the back of this. This could be his saving moment. Blast rounds for him. He's into the 1 versus 1. It's Alamo versus Canadian. Could you ask for a better way to close out a game here? Maybe. Canadian's got to go absolutely huge, and Alamo is the one who's outside the building. Gets rid of Loira to take down Doki as well, just to confirm that 1 versus 1. 25 seconds to play, and Alamo has to show him absolutely nothing. Going to try and get the defuse down here as well. Alamo has to get across, and sure enough, he does. Tim, while Shopify Rebellion is still getting to work on the main Jacuzzi breach.
Setting up the breaching sequence.
Need to just be cautious of the player on stairs. You can just see, I think it's going to be Blaz on the bandit that's looking to just peek up there. Needs to be able to hold this at bay, but a difficult position now that that Jacuzzi Wall has been opened to be able to hold on to. So we sort of switch across to the other side here. They've got the Jacuzzi Wall, they've got the pressure there. Now they need to be taking cash and CCTV. There was a lot of back and forward there. Canadian took a little bit of damage, but ultimately managed to kill Stompen. Advantage Shopify Rebellion. 5 versus 4, but chip damage is starting to mount up.
It is, and it's the time that makes me nervous, Tim, because again, it's a spot where Shopify Rebellion on the attack of this site have barely even got control of the extended hold, and we're coming down to the last 30 or so. They need to move so quickly here. The key difference is, I think, has Rexon just gone down off the roof or something? That was a bit mental. Either way, down but not out. A 4 versus 3 breaks out momentarily. Surf, though, has gone massive, and like that, G2 could be crumbling before our very eyes, Tim.
Blaz and Loira just getting a little bit too aggressive. It worked in the last round, it hasn't worked here. Doki goes for the jump out. He's trying to find that magic moment, but there will be no magic for G2 as Rexon gets the double, closes it out, and Shopify Rebellion, they deal the next blow in the NA EU rivalry and take all the points.